once again on the Rudi Lickwood Chat Show. This week I'll be joined by Nereus Joesph, singer, songwriter, composer and producer. At the tender age of 18 years and surrounded with the heavy influence of reggae music in the streets of London, Nereus formed the first band called the COPTIC ROOTS BAND, and as the lead singer he emerged on the Oxymite record label. That's where we're going to take the story up from.
Ooh! How you doing, people? How you doing? It's me, Rudi Lickwood. Thank you for dropping by. Big up Shooks, big up Liz, and big up Nella. Thank you for popping, people. How you doing? How you doing? How's your weekend been? I guess that's the question. How was your weekend been? My weekend was fantastic. I'm not going to lie. Another Earth Strong. Thank you, Shirley. How you doing? Evening, Juicy Julie. I have not received the cake yet, by the way, from Mr. C. I'm assuming that there's going to be bite marks in that cake. And if there is, Juicy Julie, you're going to have to make me another one. That's what I'm going to say. Boo! Good evening, Shirley. Good evening. Thank you for passing through, people. Really appreciate it. As I was saying, I was actually in Bristol this weekend. We had a really good turnout, which was fantastic to see. What was really nice was watching the Bristol audience without any bruises. Because, you know, they took down the statue. They took down the Colston statue down there. Well, they didn't, because black people, you know what I mean, we're not into... I mean, we know how to riot, you know what I mean? We know how to, like, get trainers and tracksuits and all them kind of things. But in terms of tearing down a statue, yeah, we're not really into that, because when we do riot, you know, they bring out the cats, the dogs, they bring out the hose pipe and all them things. But when white people do it, it's okay. Do you get me? They get a little slap on the wrist. They get a little slap on the wrist. So who else have I got here? Venetia. How you doing, Venetia? Look at you two, you lot talking to each other. What's going on in this room today? What is going on? Evening, Craig. How you doing, my friend? I noticed you weren't at the park this week. I didn't see nothing. I was looking on the net. I didn't see you and the little one out there in the park doing your thing. We never see it. Look at that. Them not just having a personal conversation. This is getting out of order now. But you know what? I'll stop you. I'll let you guys just do what you're doing. Yeah? But before we get going, could you subscribe? It's important that you like and you subscribe the pages. That way I can go up in the rankings with Google and also with YouTube and also with Facebook. Even though Facebook did put me in prison last week. Yeah, they put me in prison last week because after we had our show with Nigel Bickles, yeah, I went to about maybe 30 different pages and I was sharing it. And the next thing I knew, I got kicked out. I got flung in prison. But people are slowly coming in. So welcome once again, one and all, to my chat show where I get an opportunity to talk to people who have crossed my path and have been very influential in how I live my life, to be honest with you, but also influential in their own field and the things that they do. And for me, my guest this evening is our Dennis Brown. I don't care. I know I don't care what you lot might say. I don't care what you lot think, right? To me, he is our Dennis Brown, yeah? So if you have been keeping up with the page, keeping up with the Facebook, the Instagram, you will know who my guest is tonight. And my guest tonight is none other than Nereus Joesph. Please. No, we're not doing a gunshot. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Yes. Oh, God. How you doing, Nereus, man?
I'm good, sir. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
No, man, it's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure. I mean, we met way back years and years ago. I mean, I think you know the story better than me. We were in Dougie's night spot.
That's right. We were in Dougie's, and we were very young in our careers. I think we just done a few shows, and we were backstage, and the crowd was very hostile. It was like Saturday night at the Apollo, you know. But we somehow gave each other some strength, you know. We gave each other some encouragement, And at the end of the night, we won over the crowd, and we done we left there feeling really happy. So yeah,
Yeah.
and then we didn't see each other for years, and then you appeared on the TV, and I was like,
Oh,
wow. I was like, whoa, go on, Rudy. I was very proud, definitely.
yeah, that was the days of Planet Mirth when
Okay,
I was in a sci-fi sketch show.
okay.
And I
Kind
must
of,
admit,
kind of Red Dwarf thing, yeah. Kind
yeah,
of
it was
Red
like a
Dwarf.
Red Dwarf thing. And
Yes, man.
I was very naive. I didn't really understand how to play the game. I didn't understand the networking thing that needed to go on in order to progress. But I did manage to get there. I managed to get there in the end. In other words, the way that I look at it, right, is that I'm talking to you and you're talking to me, and we're still here, Nereus.
Exactly. The way I look at it is, when I saw you on the TV, I thought, you know what, someone's listening. Someone is paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Which is what we need. We need that, Even we're in a music business where we don't get many rewards, you know what I'm saying? But shows like this where you're showing your appreciation and the people that's tuned in, that's, that we need that.
I think
Definitely.
we do need the people that are tuning in, man. I guess we're on one level, it's like we're starved of our own role models, so to speak.
True.
Because we grew up. I mean, you put it this way. I mean, you came over in 60 what? When did you come over?
1970.
You came over in the 70s, yeah?
Yeah.
So when you came over, were there any black people on TV? Was there any black presence?
Listen, if we heard a reggae tune on the radio, that was like a big celebration. You know what I'm saying? If we just heard a reggae tune on the radio, much less black people on telly, and I'm surprised because a lot of comedians have portrayed that scenario when we've seen a black person on telly and we're calling the rest of the family to see it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just sort of realized when I saw that this is something that we all went through, you know what I'm saying? We were starved of the culture that we had back home, you know what I'm saying? So we had to get together in our communities and sort of simulate that.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's true, and that's why I think you play such a major role in carving out a Black British identity, if that makes any kind of sense. Because
Absolutely, because I was born in the Caribbean, St Lucia, and I took many of that vibe here with me, So I was able to pass that on to my children, and they very successful in the musical industry as well,
okay.
So I think it's all about passing on what you've known to other people, And I'm very fortunate to be.
That's very much you, though. That's that. I mean, as we get into this, we're gonna find out that's very much you in terms of giving. Because a lot of people that I know take. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They want for themselves. They want for themselves because I understand that they're trying to get somewhere, yeah. But your way of getting somewhere is to give. The more that you give,
Absolutely,
is the more that you get back.
I have this philosophy in life. If you have a brethren that's not giving as much as you're giving to him, you just give him a little more love. You just show him a little bit more love, because all he can see from you is love. That's got to change the situation,
Because you mentioned earlier on, I think I should tell you that Audrey Scott has just now said hello. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Audrey. How you doing, girl?
Yeah, man. Big up Audrey, man. That's one of my sweethearts. Definitely one of my sweethearts, as well as the other sisters in there. But Audrey has got something. She kind of special to me. Larry White is saying, "Evening, folks. Blessed to Nereus Joesph, a living legend." He called you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I don't see myself like that, but you really do. But
the thing
thank you
is
so
that
much.
Nereus, you're humble about your achievements. I mean, we were talking earlier on, and I mentioned to you, in order for me to do research on you, I had to spend I spent 2 days, right, just listening to your music. And I mean 2 days listening. Yeah, and even after those 2 days, there was still more tune to listen to.
I think you must have got through 10% in those 2 days.
I didn't realize just how prolific you were as a singer.
Okay.
You know, I had no idea. I mean, we all know you from the track Guidance.
Okay.
Yeah, which was a major hit. But before we get there, let's jump back a bit, because you said that you're from St Lucia. Yeah, you're St Lucian born. And where in St Lucia are we talking about?
It's a place called Canaries. If you pronounce it the St Lucian way, you'd say Canawi. Yeah. Canawi.
Oh, Canawi.
Yeah, Canawi.
Okay.
Canaries, it's a fishing village right by the sea there. It is the most wonderful place in this world.
Okay.
It's so relaxing. And I suppose it would be the most wonderful place because the majority of my family are there, you know. So you come out onto the road, you turn left, you turn right, you've got to bump into some of my family.
So does that mean that as a child you couldn't get up to nothing without somebody spot you?
Well, in St Lucia, we've got this tradition. If you pass somebody on the street and so don't say good afternoon or good morning, you're in trouble anyway. You know what I'm saying? The only the only kind of break that I got is when my parents migrated to England and I was left with Granny. You know, Mama Mona. Yeah.
Okay.
And she looked after us down there, but she wasn't as quick on her feet to catch her. You know, that's her sister. You know, and her and her sister are absolute twins. You know.
Okay.
Big inspiration for me, you know, and yeah, it's leaving St Lucia as a boy. It was very emotional, you know.
Look on him. That is him as a little boy. You got shirt, you got tie on.
Shirt, tie. That was the kiddies' party in Stratford Town Hall, organized for children. You know what I'm saying? So we were fortunate enough to go down there, you know. But as I was saying, the leaving St Lucia was very emotional for my granny.
Okay.
Because as children, you get to realize you're going to this place called England.
Right.
Yeah. Angleterre. So you know you're going to this place called England, and you know many of your friends have already left to this place for England, and you don't see them again. But you don't really know where this place is as a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the light bulb actually went on where we traveled to Castries at the harbor, and you know we can see the ship, you know, in the distance, and I see my granny start to cry. So I thought, you know what, this England thing, I'm not really into it no more. I think I'll change my mind. I'll go with my granny instead. So me and my brother put up this fight that we ain't getting in this little dinghy to go to no ship because my granny's crying. You know what I'm saying? And this can't be good for nobody.
She's crying, yeah. Yeah.
So me and my brother put down a fight with these security guys, but before I knew it, I was grabbed by one leg, hung upside down, and tossed in the boat. When I looked at my granny, she turned, and her friends sort of turned her away and sort of dragged her away because she was so distressed, you know. And at that age, you know, she knows she ain't gonna see her grandchildren again because by the time you reach England to come back to St Lucia.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a bit distressful, but
it never actually got any better once you got to England, because even the food you struggled with, didn't you?
My God. I couldn't believe where I was, you know. Obviously my mother was cooking the traditional food from back home, you know, things that I knew. But I can remember the first dinner time, I sat down and I tasted the food and I just made up my mind. I can't eat this food, you know what I'm saying? It's just a strange taste. It was, I mean, my mother's a good cook, but I suppose it was the ingredients. You know? As a young boy, something tells your brain, no, stop. And the amount of trouble that I got as a boy for not eating my
Was you
dinner.
one of those children? Was you one of those children who refused to eat, and then next morning you found the same plate of food waiting for you?
Well, not quite so. Discipline. You got discipline. You know. You just got heavy discipline. Discipline. You know, you're not allowed to go nowhere. You're not allowed to do anything. I don't know how I got through it, really. You know. And then there was school. School was crazy. When you're a young boy that age, just coming into England, being put into school. When I got here, I didn't speak no English at all.
So what were you speaking at the time?
I was speaking the Creole, which is the broken French.
Okay.
You know.
Bouffe, parfait, doudou, all them things there.
Sounds like that. But, but I had to learn quickly, you know. And I had to get used to England. For instance, the currency, you don't have a clue. But you get to the sweet shop every morning and you're looking at the kids and you're looking at your money and you're looking at the sweets and you're thinking, well, I'm thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, you know?
Okay.
So this property bit that my mother used to give me.
Wait, hold on. Do you guys in the chat room, does anybody remember the threepenny bit that Nereus just made reference to, where it had, I think it had 5 different sides to it, yeah? The threepenny bit, yeah? And it was bronze. I believe it was bronze. Yeah?
And the threepenny bit, I didn't even realize that was much more than a big brown halfpenny, you know?
Yeah.
So after 5 days, my mother checked my pockets and it was full of threepenny bits. I didn't know what to do with it. So she said, no, we're going to change this. You try and work with this halfpenny instead. You know?
Okay.
So when I got to the shop, I saw a direct transaction, a halfpenny for this thing they used to call a lucky bag. And I was like, yeah, here's my halfpenny. I'll take a lucky bag. And that was my first transaction in sort of getting customized with England. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, because we've got quite a few people who said they remember the last time they saw a threepenny bit was in a museum.
Oh. That's how old I am, guys. Sorry. You tell by my flowers are fully grown now. So
yeah, man, that's what you call maturity, bro. Maturity. And then Audrey's saying that with all them threepenny bits in your pocket, you was rich.
I was until my mother found them, and then she said, no. She just said, okay, I'll take care of these. You work with this.
Yeah, you work with halfpenny.
Yes. Yes. So it was like those game shows when you risk your money and everything goes down.
Yeah.
I'd lost everything. But I didn't care though. I didn't care because I worked out what this halfpenny can do, you know?
Yeah.
So I was working with the halfpenny from then on until I sort of clocked on to what's going on.
Because I guess it must have been different when you were back in St Lucia, because money wasn't really a currency, was it?
Not at all. Not at all. Money, we didn't have no use for money. I tell a lie, it was only one time we had use for money when my grandmother had a rumba and the floorboards were had big gaps in it. So after a while, we'd have to clear under the house and there'd be loads of money that you clear, you know what I'm saying? So we'd use that and she'd give it to us because she said, look, go and treat yourself. But I never had any pocket money as such like that. If I wanted, for instance, if I was hungry, I wouldn't ask my granny for something to eat. I'd grab a fishing line and go out onto the jetty, the pier.
Okay.
And it was like, like kids in England love skateboarding. We love fishing. So we was fishing. It was like a competition fishing at the jetty, you know what I'm saying? So you grab a couple of fish, you could always get a green banana or something like that and then boil it in one pot. So we'd make a little fire in the back garden and boil it in one pot. That totally independent, you know what I'm saying? And we used to use these paint pots. So you'd wait until somebody's painting their house, and when they finish with the paint pot, we'd take it to the beach and clean it so you can see your face in it.
Okay.
And then we'd use that to boil and cook whatever we caught. Because you couldn't use my granny's pots.
Those are special pots.
No,
those are special pots.
No, you don't touch granny's pot. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you customize when you then arrived in the UK? Because you're saying that your family, a lot of your family background was music.
Absolutely. My uncles in St Lucia, they had this group called the Melody Makers or the Merry Makers, the Calypsonian band. Oh, that's my uncle. He wasn't in the band, but he was, you know, if we had a party or we had anything musical, there'll be a time when he'd stop the music and stop, you know, the hi-fi or whatever it is, and he'll be singing for the family. Brilliant singer, absolutely gave me a big inspiration. My mother was a wonderful singer as well, and also my father. But actually, I remember one of the memories I have of my mother with her sisters. She had about 4 or 5 sisters, and while they were cleaning the house, they pitched this song, and they all had a harmony. And you know, every now and then they'll stop, and then they'll rework it out, and touch it up, and start back from the top while they're cleaning. And beautiful harmonies, beautiful, you know. So this was a big influence for me. And you know, we had the rumba outside the house where people come at night time, and my uncle played the hi-fi, the sound system, and music was just constantly in the family, you know.
See.
Yeah, man. So coming to England now, your question was, how did I adapt?
Yeah.
Coming to England, every time I went in the front room, I noticed this thing they call a gram, and I want it working. So every now and then I'll ask a question, why is that not playing? And you know, at first it's like, oh, don't bother with that, it's not working, it's no good. So after a while, I went in there, put the first record on it, just skating. And then I remember my mother or one of my parents was saying, look, I told you, it's no good. So I thought, no, I'm not giving up on this gram. I realized that the needle's no good. So I raised enough money to go and buy a needle in Seabot Road, Forest Gate. Got the needle, come back, put it on. It's still skating a little bit. And then one of the uncles come around and we're trying to fix it. And then we realize you put a little weight on it now. Yeah.
Now you got used for the thropping bit.
You see?
Now you got used for the thropping bit, rude boy.
I should have gone back to my mother and say, look, just hand me back those thropping bits right now. You give me back my money now. You know? But anyway, I've got it working. And where music and life is coming out of this front room now, you know? So every chance I get, if every little change I get, I'll stop at the record shop. Even though it's buy one record, that's great. And then my cousin Olive, who we grew with in St Lucia, she came to England before us. Big up, Olive. I love you so much. You're such a big part of my musical history. You wouldn't even, I know you know because I've explained it to you, but I'm saying it again. Olive used to come to the house, birthday present, Christmas present, any kind of scenario. She'd bring me these albums. I got The Right Time, Mighty Diamonds, Wolf and Leopard, Dennis Brown, Johnny Clark, and my love for music just started growing even more now. You know, my English wasn't that great, perfect, you know, when I first came, but that Mighty Diamonds album.
Nice memory for you.
Yeah.
Nice memory for you.
Love it. The voice.
Yes, man.
the lead singer's voice, oh my God, I can't describe it, you know?
You know what? That tune, right, it reminds me when my parents got divorced. And
Okay.
my dad had to obviously get a place of his own, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That album played regular
Right.
in the place. That was one of the albums that I, like yourself, no doubt, grew up with.
Wow. Wow. That is a monumental album. You know, played a big part of my musical history because not being fluent in English and really learning English from scratch and learning to read and write English from scratch. That album, I was able to open it and see all the lyrics and all the words.
Okay.
And it just sort of, the light bulb went on in many occasions for me with that album. It was a learning tool in many different ways. Yeah.
See, but the thing is that you said you got you kind of, it wasn't a deliberate choice to actually get involved in the music. I mean, you met up with a bully at school. And tell them the story of how you actually ended up in that room playing music.
Okay. Well, this guy was a bully. I'm not mentioning no names, but he was a bully. And he heard that I had a little voice, you know, because we used to love, you know, we had a sound system at the time that we followed in East London. So Kennedy Sound, for all those who remember, right?
Okay.
And he found out that I was a guy who loved to sing. So he had a band rehearsing in a youth center. And one day I'm playing bar football and I see this shadow standing over the table asking me to come and join the band. But you know, when you've been bullied by somebody a little bit, now I say, look, come and join the band. It's like, whoa. So, okay, I went along and had a little tryout. It didn't really work out first time. But my stubborn nature said, no, Nereus, he wasn't ready for that. You thought about it now and you're going to give it another try. So that's what I did and got myself into that band, you know. I was with them a couple of years and then I realized that I had to get my own band. And I was asked to join this other band called COPTIC ROOTS, who were just forming at the time.
Okay.
And that was the real beginning of my learning music and learning about the music business. That was the first beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Because like you're saying that from there, I mean, you're more or less coerced into getting involved in terms of like singing, in terms of like playing and what have you, and then the role that your bigger brother played. Because
yeah, well, whilst I was in these bands, my brother, my bigger brother Clem, who came from St Lucia with us, he realized that, you know, he can sing, you can sing, and we need to inject a little help, you know. We need to help you get the things you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And my brother absolutely understood that I wanted to do this thing big time. So one day I'm rehearsing and I look up and my brother and my father are standing there watching me rehearse. So my brother persuaded my father to inject some capital into my career. So I was very fortunate. I was living in a place called Manor Park at the time, and one of the biggest guitarists from Jamaica was just living a stone's throw away. That was Sorrel Radix, who played in the Roots Radix band.
Okay.
And so I approached him. I got on with him really well, and we put together this recording which I done at Easy Street Studios. Now, Easy Street's the place where they make all the hits, so it was a big achievement to be
Okay.
able to get there and to have my own production, you know. So later on in life, it was those productions that I played to fashion records
Right.
that eventually said, "Look, we want to sign you as an artist," you know. So it was a very good move, and it was, you know, it really worked out what they done for me, you know.
Well, I mean, Junior's just now said in the comment section, wow, that's great to get the endorsement of your family, because that's the thing now. It's about I guess people recognizing the talent within their own households and being supportive of it, because unfortunately in the 80s we were all told to get on our bikes by Margaret Thatcher and have a very selfish attitude or mentality to pushing forward. It was about stepping on people and leaving people behind. Whereas you're saying that your family actually got behind you
Absolutely.
and pushed you forward.
Yeah. My bigger brother Clement, I love him so much. It's unbelievable. He is my biggest inspiration. When I was a child in St Lucia, I remember he was getting ready to come to England, and he's such a loved person in the village. You know, I knew he was going to be missed, and he was doing the last end of school concert.
Okay.
And my brother sat on the edge of the stage with a guitar in his hand, singing "The Dock of the Bay."
Oh, sitting on the dock of a bay.
And girls were screaming, and girls were going crazy.
So what? When you heard the girls going crazy and your brother's getting that kind of adulation, did you think to yourself that could be me?
No, well, not exactly that, but the reaction that they had to this thing, and I love music anyway. You know what I'm saying? I was having the same reaction that they were. I'm thinking, wow, what's going on here? And I've never forgot that. That always stayed with me. And every time I hear that tune, I know that's my bigger brother Clem playing that guitar and singing that tune. You know what I'm saying?
And I guess coming from a fishing village, it's appropriate to think that he's actually sitting on the dock, or he's sitting by the waterside.
Exactly. We had this little stage in the main hall. Well, basically, the main hall was 8 or 9 classrooms, sort of partitioned. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the year, you clear all the seats away, and you'll have a little production. You know what I'm saying? That jetty was where we lived when, you know, it was our pastime, catching fish, chatting, reasoning, and we had this special time called sardine season. That jetty, you could sit in church on Sunday, listening to the sermon, and when you look through the glass, you can see the jetty, and you could see who's ever on there fishing. You know, so Sunday morning, you look and you see the river, the sea alive with all kind of fish. You know, it's sardine season, so everybody gets their nets and.
So everyone's got one ear listening to the pastor, and their eye is looking at Wagwan outside.
Clear the church, mate. Clear the church. Clean that pastor. Cuss him. You don't make no collection yet. So it vexed, you know. But it's funny because we'd be sitting there and we'd see one guy throwing in the line, and he'd catch something really quick and take it off the hook, put it down, throw the line in, catch again, and say, "Oh, that's a bit quick."
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's a lot of fish.
There's a lot of fish there, sir.
Yeah, because there's so much sardine, the fish are being attracted. So straight away, my big brother would nudge me, and he would nudge somebody else, and someone would give nudge them. We're sneaking out of the back of the church. Crazy, because people are coming from town on their bus with their town clothes on, see what's going on, strip down on the beach in their underpants, send their little brothers home for buckets and nets and whatever they need to store.
Did you not use fishing rods, or did you not use seines? What did you use?
I had a long piece of bamboo, right? with the line attached to it and a little cut at the end so that the line can go on one end and string on the other end and keep going. And then
Okay.
when I got to the end, the hook, I'd hook it onto the line. So at all times I was hooked up and ready to go.
Ready
And
to go.
I put the hook. No, I tell a lie. That was not my actual hook and line. That was passed down to me from my bigger brother.
Okay.
He said, look, because he was the expert. When my bigger brother was fishing, he would his hook is massive. It's a big hook, and he would swim out and drop that hook and swim back, and his line was thick, so he's catching the barracudas and some big fish, man, and he's fighting with that for a good hour, and he's up and down the beach with it until he can bring it in. But the good person that my brother is, when he caught something big, everybody got a piece, everybody got a slice. So he was really loved. He's still loved. He's very
You know
loved.
what? I'll be honest with you. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I love your love for your brother.
Yeah, because he's my mentor.
He is in every paragraph that you've mentioned so far.
He's such a big part of my life. He's my mentor. When I got to England, he was indirectly watching out and looking out for me. He wouldn't sort of interfere too hard, but he'll know every sign and he'll know how to, give me advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
It's not my love for my brother. It's really my brother's love for me. Yeah.
Okay, I hear
Because
that.
he's the bigger brother. So
Yeah, I hear that. I got
he's
it wrong.
looking after me, if you really think about it. Yeah.
I got it wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
got it wrong. But then I want to move on just a bit, not too much though, because what was you like? What was school like for you? What was it like in the UK? Because yes, obviously, like you said, you've got to deal with the English and what have you, and then you've got to deal with the perception that teachers would have had of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got to deal with the cultural aspect of having to pass exams that is not culturally associated with where you're coming from. And then you've got to find work for the first time. What was that like?
Well, just like everybody else, you aspire to certain things, and then you get told by your teacher, "Oh, that's not feasible. Try motor mechanics or something like that." You know what I'm saying? Or building. But I always had my heart set on music, and I came to the realization that you've really got to choose what you want and not let something choose you.
Okay.
If you choose the job you want to do, then you haven't got any chance of a job that you don't like choosing you, because inevitably, if you just leave it alone, that's what's going to happen, And I was dead set on music. Obviously, I had to go and work, and after, living at my parents' house, it's unthinkable that you'd be living there without looking for a job. So you look for your living, machine operator. I was doing woodwork at the time, and then I went to college, but when I went to college, it was for music.
Oh, see.
Because after a few years and, moving away from my parents' house, I decided I'd go into college and do an independent study on music and aspects of music. And this is what I did. And then obviously working at Fashion Records. And
yeah, but what about the youth work before that?
Well, the youth work, it was funny because, again, I was chosen to do that because we had a little studio in East London, and to be quite honest, to be 100% honest, I was working with some really great artists, but there's one and two of them that was just not grateful enough to be doing the work.
Okay.
So the time that I said, you know what, instead of working with those who are not grateful, I'd work with my son, because he was a body, he really wanted to know stuff about music. So I brought him in the studio, taught him how to use the equipment, and I said, look, anytime you're feeling bored, just come and use the equipment. And some of his friends come and they, you know, they're rapping and making lyrics and stuff like that, which was good, brilliant. You know what I'm saying? So that helped. And then a friend of mine who was running the youth center was just about to build a big music suite for teaching kids. And he heard what I was doing with our sons, because his son was friends with my son and they were coming to use a studio and stuff. So he said, look, why don't you come and help me run this music suite to help the kids? And I said, well, okay, that sounds great. That's just down my street. So eventually I got taken on full time. I'm giving music technology lessons to Little Ilford School, which is attached to the youth center. So I'm full-fledged teacher and youth worker now, which I didn't apply for. I didn't, you know, I was just.
It gravitated to you, and you gravitated to it.
Well, I had to gravitate, and luckily, I'm a father, so I know how children react, and children that age react. So I use my skills as a father to know how to interact with other children. And, you know, we've got a few courses to help us know how to interact that way there. But I always know that conversation is the best art of youth. It's the best way to get through to your child, or whether if you're doing youth work or not, you've got children. Conversation is the best tool to you know, get through to kids. You know,
tell us something. What was your dad like?
Well, my daddy was a great old man. He was a fantastic guy. I'm so much like him.
Yeah, we can see that. If we chop off the beard and we chop off the locks, we find him.
Yeah. The strange thing is, when I came to England, because when my parents left us down there in St Lucia, I only had vivid memories of my mother and father. And when I come to England, I noticed, I said, wait, this guy walks like me. You'd have to travel far to find somebody that walks the same as you.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. People always say the likeness between me and him, you know what I'm saying? And it's undoubtable. You get me? Yeah. My father was a really cool guy. Really cool guy. He'd go out with my uncles, his brothers, and my mother's brothers, and they'd love a drink. But my father stayed sober.
Okay.
And made sure everyone got a lift home. He was the allocated driver, you know. So he really knew how to keep his cool and make sure nothing don't happen untowards to his family. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm very much like him in that sense.
So now we've kind of like established that, you know, you came over, you had the love of music, you know, you got coerced into going into a makeshift studio to produce a tune. Yeah. You now end up as a teacher, teaching kids, as well as, you know, going to college to pick up the music and stuff. So it's like, when did this big break come for you with SENSI CRISIS?
Well, just after the COPTIC Roots era, the COPTIC Roots time, you know, we'd approached fashion as COPTIC Roots, and I lost touch with fashion for about a year or so, but didn't realize they were trying to contact us. We didn't leave any contacts at the time, and just didn't know that they were trying to contact us. So when I left COPTIC Roots, after a little while, I said, let me recheck Fashion Records. And when I rang them, they said they were like shocked to hear from me, and they were trying everything to get hold of me. And I remember speaking to Gossipy, and he was saying, "Oh, we're trying to get hold of you. The boss wants to see you. When can you come down? Give me a telephone number." You know. So I eventually got myself back down to Fashion, and they was like, "Yes, we do want you." You know, and the break really came from Fashion. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
after Fashion,
Mhm.
everything just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
So then when you and Top Cat linked up, what happened there?
Well, it was more me and Tenafly. Me and Tenafly linked
More
up.
so you and Tenafly.
Yeah. And Top Cat and Tenafly was inseparable from beginning anyway. They were bridgings.
Mhm.
And I actually done the first collaboration with Tenafly, not ever meeting Tenafly. You know,
Okay.
I went into the studio Fashion, and they said, "Look, we want you to do this collaboration." And I did my part, left,
Mhm.
and then a few weeks later the tune was beaten, and I'd never met Tenafly until
Okay.
I went to Leeds to do something with my band, and there was a Coxon dance at the time. So I went to the dance, and that's the first time I met Tenafly. So we hailed each other, and we knew that the tune was doing good, you know. And it was the same thing with I'm a Rebel, Gappy Ranks, you know.
Okay. So
Yeah,
this is the tune with Tenafly, yeah?
yeah.
What? We have to play this tune. Me not get them no more. Me not get them no more. Me not get them no more. Because that was a big tune for us lot growing up. That was a massive tune, bro.
Yeah, that for me that was a big tune. That just revived the career, and it just pushed it further. You know what I'm saying? And Tenafly was a wicked, wicked, wicked DJ. Anyway, he had the momentum at the time, so it really helped me. You know, and we started doing shows all over the world with me and Tenafly and Top Cat as well, which was a good time. You know, it was just a good vibe traveling and working with those two guys. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
unbelievable, man. Because to think that we mentioned Top Cat, and I was working with Top Cat last night. Working with him down in Bristol, him and Don Campbell.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Know? So you guys were traveling now. So what we're talking Europe? Which parts of Europe did you end up?
Yeah, we've done Sweden, Germany a few times. You know, I mean, the tune was going crazy in England. So we was up and down that motorway like crazy, never stopped. You know, it was a very hectic time, but a good time. Yeah, man.
See, so what was it like then? Because obviously you're growing, and you didn't. I mean, you had to make decisions. I'm sure you had to make decisions about what type of music you were gonna do, because you've been through the transition of the cultural music into the dancehall music and I mean, I could put you in all three bags. Don't get me wrong, but I get more of a cultural feel from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because my first band, COPTIC Roots, we were of roots music, you know, and conscious music. That's where we always, and this is, you know, all the music that I listened to and appreciated was of that roots. There was a roots, you know what I'm saying? But being a British artist, you can't really get away from having to sing love songs, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I didn't really mind so much because I've known that my artists that really influenced me, it also have those love songs as well. You know, so it was
Dennis
a
Brown, for
natural.
example. Dennis Brown as an
Dennis
example.
Brown, Gregory Isaacs, they all had that root side, and then they had that lovers rock side as well. And I knew that was always going to be a building block of reggae music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I accepted that, and I love all kind of reggae music. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be dancehall or lovers rock or roots, it's everything. All of it was part of my growing up and influencing of reggae. So it was natural that I would want to experiment and want to have that in my
Repertoire.
library. Yeah, yeah, man.
Because I mean, like I said, you've got an extensive catalogue. I mean, I was not exaggerating when I said 2 days. It would take to sit down and listen to things that you've voiced over, collaborations that you've had. I mean, who was your favorite collaborate? Who were your favorite artists who actually? Before I talk about your production, because we're not talking about production yet, I just want to talk about the artists that you've worked with over the years. I know there's a lot. But if you were to pick out, say, your favorite 5, yeah.
They were all good. They were.
Man, come on, man. No, I'm gonna push you now.
Picking a favorite is not a fair question. Because those you don't pick, obviously, they're gonna say, really, Nereus? I worked hard on that collab. You know, no, I'm not gonna put my foot in that one. They were all good. They were all good. Everyone, you know, Winsome, Paulie Taja, Tenafly, Gappy Ranks, the new album's got some collabs.
Okay, so you've got. All right, I'm not gonna let that go. So you're talking about a new album now. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean that has been in production for how long now? Because the thing is that you went through a serious time in 2016. Yeah. Which I hope you will share. To be honest with you.
Okay, I'm gonna share it because I believe that if it happens to other people, then they'll have something to gauge it by. When it happened to me, I didn't have no gauge. I had to learn about it from scratch, you know. 2016, I had a stroke, you know, paralyzed. I was paralyzed. And I was about halfway through the album. You get me? So my manager, Tubbs, who I really thank him for this maneuver. You know, he just said to me, look, you know, all it means is you're going to need a little bit of time to recover. So until then, we're going to upgrade everything. We're going to upgrade the studio. We're going to move that from, you know, and then we're going to put it on a new format and really take time and build it up, which is what we did, which was the best thing because it gave me work to do and it gave me something to focus on while I was rehabilitating myself. And trust me, I was rehabilitating myself. I was at it like crazy. I was breaking all the records for the time to achieve each sort of milestone, you know. So
when you talk about being paralyzed from on your left, was it your whole of your left side? Was it just your arm? Was it your leg? What was
left leg, left arm, paralyzed? You know, I had to use a Zimmer frame and crutches, but like I say, the time that you're meant to be on a Zimmer frame, I chopped that into a fraction, moved on to the next support and chopped that, and then walking stick within 2-3 months. I did not want this walking stick no more.
Okay.
Moved down and just started walking up every morning, 6 o'clock. Thank God that my gym is just across the road to me. So I get there at 6 o'clock, work out, and just keep it moving, keep it going, keep it moving. You know,
it must have been quite a strenuous time because you know, they say that strokes come around because of stress, food that we ate, and also because of stress, the different various stress levels. I mean, what was your work life like at that time?
Well, I'm a workaholic.
That's what I'm gathering.
Plain and simple. I works like crazy. Even my productions. I mean, I'll work on a track for the whole day, but I'd have a break every hour. I'll stop, have a break, do something. I'll leave the studio on and I'll go out and do something. And I won't be hammering at it as much. I'll give myself time to think about stuff a little bit more.
You backed off a little bit now. You're kind of like stepping back.
Well,
not stopping, but giving that space.
I'm actually doing more work than before now. But
oh no.
But doing it in a really easier way. Put it that way. It's the way I've got the workload set up now. It's everything's got a time. You know, before, you know, I'll do this. I won't start a project until I finish that project and done it, and then you know what I'm saying. Okay. I won't pile it on anymore.
I just want to mention a few things that has been said. You've got Rudi Joesph who says that's why it's important to have vision. That's what kept you going.
Absolutely, absolutely. You land in a scenario, and then you've got to work out how you're going to get through it, and you need that vision to work out how you're going to get through it. I'm very fortunate that my support system around me was fantastic, and I got all the help and the support from my kids, my partner, you know, and wonderful. And that gave me the strength to keep going, because there were days when I was just saying, you know what, I'm just going to sit here. I can
imagine.
You know,
because that's the easiest thing to do is to give up.
Absolutely, absolutely. But then I remembered, and you know, I remember that there was a few other artists before me that went through the same thing.
Okay.
And when I had mine, I'm looking at them then, and they were, you would know. So
well, put it this way. I put it this way. Everybody who's been watching you tonight, yeah, would you have thought to yourself that Nereus had a stroke down his left side? And I'm gonna make that a rhetorical question, because I'm gonna answer it, and the answer has to be no. Nobody would have known.
Well, the main thing I wanted to say about it is, having known that other artists before me had went through it, and now I'm seeing them fully recovered, made me understand. I mean, I did speak to a physiotherapist, and they told me, you know what, you get everything fully back in due time. Everything comes back, and you know, you're back to nearly as much as where you was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when they were saying it to me, I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't believe it. And then I realized, but hold on a minute, this guy had one and this guy had one, and look at them now. So I can see the before and the after, and you know, that helped put me on a positive to know, say, well, if you can work at this thing to build yourself back up again, then yes, you can get back to normal. You know, so that gave me the inspiration to really stick at it and get to where I am now.
Well, Leary says, respect to your recovery.
Give thanks, Mary.
You've got Miss Shugs, who says, I know that feeling, having a walking stick herself. All right. Spencer Ferguson says, big talk. Intelligence is having the ability to adapt to change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Miss Natural is saying, your determination is inspiring. And we haven't finished there, but I want to tell you a lot about his son in a minute. The man of Phoenix, he went always, the man is a phoenix. He went always rise. I understand what he's saying. As a phoenix,
yes, yes,
you always come back. Yeah. And at the bottom of that, he's put the word will, meaning that your mind, your strength. But you also mentioned that you had a reason for wanting to sort yourself. Now, could you tell us who these people are?
These are all my kids.
In other words, my man a fling seed.
Skillful, because
no,
all the big ones, they're all 2 years apart. Yeah.
Okay.
The youngest one, Jordan, was born later. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But they're all perfectly 2 years apart, and
So
all
that
their
means that
birthdays fall at the same time.
when you fling out your fishing rod, you know when you're flinging it out.
Oh, for real, for real.
No,
Yeah.
man. I mean, the one thing that we've all picked up on, man, is that you're very much a family man. You're very cultured. You know, I mean, it explains the locks on your head. You know, down to the food that you ate and the bowl that you had to wash out because you couldn't use nanny's bowl and you had to see your reflection in your own in the bowl itself before you would
get
actually
your own pot. You have to get your own pot.
Before you
firewood
begin to use it. But now we could take a look at some of your siblings here.
Oh, my brothers. That's my brother Clement with the rainbow shirt. He was the fisherman, you know. My brother Mike, we both with the red shirt. We both lived in St Lucia together. You know, me, Clement, and Mike were all in St Lucia together. Clement came for it. And my two sisters was born in England here. You know, we came and met them in England, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Love my family like nothing because it's more than a family. It's our community from St Lucia. We sat down together as a family and as a community on that veranda, and we shared our stories, and we shared our lives, you know. So, and we still do that now. We get together, and that was an occasion where we just got together for the Sunday and just chilled, you know. Yeah.
I hope you don't mind, Nereus, but we've actually done an hour, right?
Okay.
And there's still a few more things to tell,
right?
You know, because as well as being a singer and a songwriter and a composer, yeah, you're actually a producer.
Okay, yeah. Not many people know about that side of me.
They don't know. Not many people. You don't bawl out your stuff. You're too humble that way. You don't bawl, you know, about the
for
stuff.
For what? Why? You know, it's the only thing. Well, I love making music for myself and other people, and the actual joy comes out of making it, not telling people that I've made it. You know what I'm saying? So there's no need.
There is a need. There is a need. What about some of the adverts that you got involved in?
Oh yeah, those adverts. It was I think I was just standing at the right place at the right time, you know. And then I mean, at the time, those people from not Virgin Island Records, they had a big magnifying glass on me at the time.
Okay.
Me and Tenafly was signed to Polygram, and I had these people come and check me in one of the studios in Kentish Town, and they were from Island Records, and they were on my case like crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah.
I can't remember the adverts that you did. What were the adverts that you did?
I did this coffee advert, KENCO.
KENCO, yeah, that was
Stir
one.
It Up, the Bob Marley song, Stir It Up. And I did the Right Guard.
Right Guard was another one, that's right.
And Three Little Birds, you know. And it's funny because when I did the KENCO, they asked me to come to the studio, and I bumped into Rough Cut. Rough Cut was the guys that was actually playing the music. You know what I'm saying? And they just finished laying the track down, and it's like the sound of it was wow. Those guys can play. You know.
Right.
Later on, I went on to do an album with them, and we had a link up and everything. You know what I'm saying? But that was my first one of the first encounters with Rough Cut. You know.
I've just been asked by Spencer Ferguson, who does this one-shot sauce, and he would like to send you one. He's a manufacturer. I know this just seems like it's left of field, but he's a manufacturer of a one-stop sauce, like jerk, like a jerk sauce kind of like thing. and he's asked if he could send you. He'd like you to sample it. He just wants you to have a taste of his sauce. So I will
That's
get
a
his
strange
details.
request, but I don't see why not.
I'll get his details and I will forward it on to you. Nevada Cater. Do you know Nevada?
Nevada, no. I'm
From Arima.
sorry.
From Arima.
Arima.
I'm in love with you, darling.
Right.
Yeah.
We met those guys in Sweden.
Yes, he's living in Sweden at the moment.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of meeting him at Sylvia Teller's birthday party some time ago, is what he's just reminding you.
Okay, right. Big up yourself. You know, I met those guys and I had to really take my hat off to them because, you know, when you go to Europe, you want to do your show and go back home, especially a place like Sweden. It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, it is cold. It is cold. And
those
expensive.
guys, and those guys settled in Sweden and they were developing their music career because I think they were signed to a company at the time. And I had to respect them, you know, for, you know, putting in the campaign and being in, you know, in a place that they're not used to. You know, I mean, they're settled there now, so it's history, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, big up yourself, brother, every time.
Bruv, you're wearing them locks well. That's all I can say to you. You're wearing them locks well, man. So the production side of things now, because your son has been watching you very closely.
Yes.
Yeah. To the point where he's now working with some top artists. And I mean, when I'm talking about top artists, I'd rather you tell it than me, to be honest with you.
Well, it's really strange because my son was going to the very youth club that recruited me after they realized what I was doing for the youth then. And it's strange because before that, he used to come and show me these photographs. You know, he said, "Oh, Dad, this is me winning a DJ competition." And he's about 13 at the time. So I'm saying, "Oh, well done, lovely, nice one." And he'd keep showing me these photos and he'd say, "Oh, I won this one," or "I came second," but mostly I've won, you know. So I'm thinking, oh, he's really good, you know, DJ, you know, he's on the decks. And one day he showed me a photo and he said, "Oh, this is me winning, Dad." So I said, "Well, who's the guy next to you with the beard?" He said, "Oh, he comes second." I said, "What? He comes second?" I said, is this competition for any age or is it for your age?" He said, "No, it's for any age, Dad." I said, "Yeah." So I said, "Then does some of these guys bring their own equipment for the competition?" He said, "Yeah, Dad, they all bring their own equipment." So what do you use? I said, "Well, they provide decks and the equipment, but these guys won't use them. They always bring their own stuff." And I stopped and I thought, wow, my son is in a DJ competition with some top-notch DJ and he's wiping the floor with them. I said, "Well, where do you practice?" He said, "Oh, in the youth center." So I said, "Hey," I said, "Stick a pin." Within a couple of days, I got 2 Techniques decks with the mixer, headphone, and whatever you need. I said, "Look, here you go." He was like, wow. He just went to it. And then it was history from then. He started playing these records. And then one day he said to me, he said, "Dad, you know anything about dub play?" I said, "Well, you know about dub play." He said, "Well, this is the way we have to do it now." I said, "Okay, check this guy down Music House and tell him that you're my son." He went down there, cut his dub plate. We made a different arrangement because some of those guys in Music House were producing records. And I realized that they wanted some Nereus Joesph records. So I said, "Okay, we'll do a nice little trade." You know? So my son was able to cut dub plate. But before that, I realized he wanted the need to make his own beats. So I got him a PC and the proper software he needed to make these beats. So now that he can make his own beats, he then cut his own beats on dubplate now, which is the progression he's always made now. So he's always been a DJ, and he's been on like Rinse FM. He started basically on Rinse FM, and not only playing other vinyl, but playing his own composition.
Okay.
Yeah. This led to him working with people like Chipmunk and, you know, just touring around and just being a DJ, doing all the DJ circuits. And now he's at BBC One Extra. And you can tune in every Friday, Sir Pyro, BBC One Extra.
So he's worked with let me just because he's doing bits and pieces with Stormzy as well, I believe.
Stormzy, yeah, well, he produced the Take Me Back to London, Stormzy and what's the guy's name? Ed Sheeran. Stormzy and Ed Sheeran, Take Me Back to London. And before that, I think he had about maybe 3-4 tracks on Stormzy's last album. I remember one of them that really sticks in my mind is this tune called Too Big for Your Boots.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my son's production.
Did you not hear that? Did you not hear
that? Yes.
Let's talk about your daughter.
Yes, she's heavily into music as well. She started a record. Her and her partner at the time started a record label called Always Recorded. And I remember she come and linked me and she said, Dad, I want to do this. I want to do. So I gave her as much advice. And then all of a sudden one day she rang me and she said, Dad, I need to make a video. I says, okay. She says, I need a boxing ring. So I says, okay, that's no problem. You check your Uncle Martin. he's a fitness trainer and he works as a boxing, very nice place he works. I said, tell him what you need. And Uncle Martin, you know, my cousin Martin, he's a family man. He's all about family. As long as you're family and you say, look, Uncle Martin, I need that, nothing is too great for that guy.
Okay.
So he said, yes, come along, do the video. They done the video. I said, did you get Prince? Yeah. The next thing I'm looking at is, she said, yeah, Dad, look, this is the video. And I'm looking at Chipmunk in this video in a boxing ring doing stuff.
I remember that video, bro.
Yes. And then I thought, okay, this is serious. This is not a joke. You're going for this thing, you know. And then she signed Chipmunk, I think it was to Universal Records at the time, and done really well. She done really well.
Because there's a lot of parents in here tonight, Nereus. And if there's one thing parents want their children to do, is to supersede them.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'd like to tell you that you've accomplished that.
Well, I'm just taking a leaf out of my father and my brother, who injected that budget so I can actually be where I am now today. And when my son presented me with those photographs of him cleaning up against these really super, I said, no. I mustered every money that, let me tell you, these techniques, they're not cheap, you know.
Yeah, we know.
Not cheap. I said, no, I want the best equipment. I got the best stuff. And if you're that great without your own equipment, how good are you going to be once you've got your own things and you can really practice now? Yeah. And this is what my parents done for me. This is what my brother done for me.
What I want people at home to understand is just how big an influence you've had, right? Even though people haven't visibly seen you, how big an influence you've had on British culture and the music. From the time you start talking about Chipmunk, Stormzy, Ed Sheeran, yeah? Even though we don't see you, you've had a massive influence on that. Massive.
Yes.
And I know that you, like you say, you don't scream and shout about what it is that you've done or what it is that you're doing, yeah? But I think it's imperative that, this is my brother Keith standing by me, right?
I do, man.
Not too bad, thanks.
Yeah,
bless.
Yeah, I think it's important that people recognize that you don't always have to be at the forefront of things to have an influence on things.
Yeah, you Not at all. I mean, the whole mission is to get through, and whichever your artist you're working with, and whatever situation you're working with, the whole mission is to get through. And you know, it may it may need you keeping quiet about it to get it through. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's not an important thing to scream and shout, hey, you know, I did this or I did that.
Because that's what I'm saying. You walk around and nobody would really know, because I personally felt that you never really got the dues that you were due. Yeah, but you're not coming across that way. You're not coming across bitter. You're not coming across like what a man should have known. Me and me. You don't voice that at all. But what I would like you to voice, I would like you to voice about your merchandising. I would like you to voice about the new album that's coming out. I would like you to voice about, you know, the future projects that you've got coming your way. I would like you to do that.
Well, the album's ready. The new album's ready. It's called The Signs of the Times, because I think there's so much going on in these times. And I kind of did my best to sort of portray what's going on. So that should be the first single will be out before Christmas. But what we've done is the last album, Yasomide, right, which done really well for me. That's going back up on downloads. You know what I'm saying? From the 3rd of October. You know what I'm saying? So once we put that out to really familiarize people back with me again, and then we put out the first single with Coffee.
Coffee in Jamaica, that coffee?
No. Our Coffee.
Okay.
In England.
In England,
okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's all set, ready, in the barrel, loaded, ready to go. And yeah, we're gonna do that. Merchandise is definitely, we're gonna start some merchandising. Let me show you my logo of my shirt. There we go. I'm sure you guys are familiar with my logo, that NJA. So we're gonna be doing some merchandising like that and different bits and pieces. Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good, because I mean, we've all had to adapt to changes, and no doubt you've seen some of the biggest changes from records being pressed to download to now downloads. And you're always one for adapting. But what was that for you? What was that like for you, having to go through that transition?
Well, to me, a lot of people moaned and said, "Oh, we're not, you know, can't sell vinyl, can't sell CDs," and then Jetstar, the main distributors, locked down. I really thought that was a good thing. I thought that was a really good thing, because some artists who were really doing good didn't get the platform that they really deserved, you know, and they just didn't get the push that they deserved with that last format. Now this format now, where you upload, and if people want to buy your stuff, they can go and buy your stuff if they want, and nobody can't stop them.
Right.
Nobody can't block them, stop them. It's always available. It's just up to the artist to put in the campaign to get that done. Yes, it's a little bit different. We have to work on social media, and we have to work online, and it's a transformation. But it's there if you want to put on the work, and you don't have to rely on other people to put in that work and learn how to do it and put in that work. You see what I'm saying? So I think if you are determined and really want to get it done, it's a better chance, because there's no holds barred. You know, you if you really want it, you can get it if you want to, willing to put yourself out.
Put the work in.
And I found that that's a better deal, because I'm willing to work and put in the work.
You've recovered from a stroke, mate. I mean, there's no question about are you willing to work or what. You've recovered from a stroke. You're moving perfectly.
Absolutely.
You know, you're a man that people can't hold down. But I hope, you know, that the few people who do get to watch this will recognize just how big an artist you genuinely are. You know, and more props and more flowers to you, as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Thank you.
That's all right, bro. I'm gonna give the room now an opportunity. I'm only gonna give you guys 3 minutes because we've done an hour and 24 minutes, and you know that the show's only meant to last an hour, right? Yeah, it's only meant to last an hour, bro. That they can, if there's any one question anybody would like to put forward, Spencer, I will of course get hold of Nereus's details so you can forward the source onto him, right? NJ, you're a legend in my eyes, is what he's saying.
Thank you, Spencer. Thank you.
He's always been a legend in my eyes, and like I said, for me, you're our UK Dennis Brown. That's how I see you. That's how I look at you. I'm gonna see you no other way. You know, Audrey Scott is saying, always willing to help others too, because she knows you directly. Yeah, and she's saying respect to that. You know,
thanks, Scotty. Means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, because that's somebody who's in the field, so she knows exactly what she's saying. You know,
my friend for many years in the reggae industry. You know, we've done so much work together. You know, big up yourself, Scotty. Blessings.
Nella Misson.
Oh, Nella.
Proud of you, cuz. Blessings always. Nella's been in the room for quite a while, you know.
Nella is my cousin.
Nella's been in here from the beginning of the show.
Nella lives next door. Nella's mother lives next door to my mother in St Lucia. Yeah. My auntie Lola.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to go and play outside of her front house when we were kids.
Okay. Yes, she did say that she knew you. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we used to play outside of her house when we were kids, man. I used to hear and her brother Peter and the knives that used to go on out there. So we used to carry on with madness when we were kids. We used to go on with some madness, man. I tell you.
Yeah, man. Nella is a special cousin, you know, because she, you know, her mother is a special kind of, and her father. Wow, her father. You know, when I'm in St. Lucia, you know, sometimes I'm in my mom's house by myself, and my parents have traveled somewhere, and I get the key from Nella's mom next door, and I just go in the house, and he'll always stop over and check if I'm okay and see if everything's all right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Big up.
We've also got the shoe doctor in the house. Martin Winter is
Martin
in the house.
Winter, yes.
And for us to hold on to Martin for even half an hour is a good thing, because this guy's brain, right, is always working. It's always moving. He doesn't sit down for no more than 10 minutes before he gets up to do another project. But obviously, he's got that amount of respect for you that he's been here from the beginning of the show. He's been here throughout. His question for you is, what past artist would you have liked to have done a combo with?
Definitely Dennis Brown.
And yeah, I thought that was coming.
Definitely. No, I mean, yeah. Dennis Brown is a big inspiration. Very prolific. You know, seems to do everything right. You know, it was a sad loss when we lost him. You know, because when you have a favorite artist like Dennis Brown, you spend your time listening to the radio for his next tune. You know, and then when you hear a new Dennis Brown, it's like, whoa, turn that up.
Yeah.
Have a good listen, because you know it's brand new. You're hearing it for the first time, and to be honest, I put on that radio listening out for the new tunes of my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? Freddie McGregor.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Freddie McGregor.
So many of them.
I'm not a big fan of Freddie McGregor. I'm not.
Oh, I love Freddie McGregor. I really love his work, you know. I think him and Dennis Brown have similarities.
Not even close, man. They're not even close. Not even close.
They had the same type of, there was the same era. So, I mean, the only difference between Freddie, I think, and Dennis is most of Freddie's musical arrangements was more Roots Radix.
Okay.
Yeah? And although Dennis Brown had a few Roots Radix productions, he was not, you know the sound of Roots Radix. It's a ploddy, heavy type of sound. And back in the day, Freddie was voicing all the conscious stuff on them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think that's the only difference between the two. Dennis was a bit of more of a showtime and a
Yeah,
crossover.
he was a showman. He was definitely a showman.
Yeah. But Freddie McGregor was a big influence. He's always been a big artist to me. You know.
I'm also I'm getting a cuss in here as well from Leary. Only an hour for Nereus. You're a joke, you barled.
Well, it's actually been more than an hour. It's been what? I'm looking at this little clock here, and it says an hour and 30 minutes. So
that's right.
I might have to call the union in a minute, to make them ask what's really going on here.
Oh, good. Martin Winter is saying that he is working. I am working now, he's saying. Jones Gustaffer says, once you play a Nereus Joesph music, you can't play it once. You lose count playing it. So he's got to play it over and over and over and over and again. Spencer Fergus is saying, St Lucia is my adopted land. I live in Lab.
Labrie.
Where is he referring to?
It may be Labrie or one of those places. How does he spell it?
L-A-B. He just spelled it L-A-B. So he's mostly abbreviated it. He's mostly abbreviated it. Audrey Scott is saying your voices would have blended nicely. That's you and Dennis.
Okay.
Spencer is asking, would you do a collab with Beres Hammond?
Absolutely, 100% now. Absolutely. When I go to Jamaica, I actually link Beres. I've got a friend down there, Steve James, that's really part of their camp, and we go down and check him at the studio. It's just amazing how this guy works. It's amazing.
Okay.
You know? This man doesn't rush any line at all. He'll just take his time. He'll be playing Ludi or dominoes or something like that, and he'll just get this idea and he's just straight in. He'll call the engineer. And yeah, absolutely wonderful guy, wonderful vibes. The atmosphere he has around him is just so fantastic. Fantastic. And if I'm in Jamaica, I always try, because every time I go around the music house or one of those big artists, I am just zooming in and trying to learn. Even if I'm having a conversation, I'm trying to learn their aspect on the music and how they approach it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, I'm gonna have to wrap it up, man, or them lot would have us sitting here chatting all night, yeah?
Yes, definitely. I think we've covered 10%, but we've covered a lot.
It has really been a pleasure taking the time out, because I was trying to get hold of you last year, and it was a bit of a struggle, but the moment I did get hold of you and the moment I did get hold of Tubbs, it's been one of the best interviews that I've had so far. So it's been a pleasure having you, my friend.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you.
No worry.
I feel honored to be invited onto your show. I really do, Absolutely.
Okay.
No, it's so great. I mean, I've done a lot of radio interviews and I've done them over the Skype and stuff like that, but a real live interview like that with you yourself, fantastic. I really appreciate it.
No, it's no problem, man. No problem. So all of those in the chat room, if you could just give him a nice round of applause, because we're gonna have to let him go now. Let him get back into
blessings.
Let him get back to his works, his heavy works, and make sure you don't work too hard in a rude boy, because you will work yourself into a grave the way you carry on.
No, I have to take it easy. They're taking it really slow now. I'm my own boss, and I make sure they don't give me too much work or too much pressure.
Okay.
And furthermore, my management make sure that I don't get too much work and too much pressure.
Well, even me myself, I'm gonna big up your manager. I'm gonna big up Tubbs. I've never met him. I've only spoken to him, and it's a pleasure every time I pick up the phone to have a conversation with him. He's not bullish. He's not, you know, demanding, and he's very giving as well, like yourself. Yeah. So, Jones is saying hands up, clap, clap, clap all around. All the claps are coming in now, bruv. I think everyone's really enjoyed listening to you tonight, and I hope we've learned a lot more. I put in the description to rediscover yourself, you know, because like you said, I remember back when we started out in Dougie's, you know, we're going back past 25 years now.
yeah, definitely.
You know,
but you know what I'm so proud of is that we stuck to our guns, and we really knew that we wanted this, and nothing was going to deter us. And I'm proud of you for that. Trust me. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks, bro. So I'll let you go now, and
all right, sir.
I'll have you in the room back there. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. That was Anything Goes. Not Anything Goes. What am I saying? Anything Goes. Why did I say Anything Goes? I know, because Martin's in the room. No, this is Keep It Real with myself, Rudi Lickwood, and my guest tonight was none other than Nereus Joesph. Next week, we will be talking to Robin Walker, who is the Black historian, another man that I'm very, very proud of, because he has dug up stuff about what it is to be Black British, and not only to be Black British, but what it is to be an African. So please do share. I can see that people have shared it. Even Countryman shared it, even though I'm waiting to have a conversation with him. Right? I can see who shared it. Thank you very much for doing so. Please do like the page, and please do check me out next week. Thank you very much. And
joining me once again on the Rudi Lickwood Chat Show, and joining me this week was none other than Nereus Joesph. Very interesting guy, writer, producer, composer. Hey, all-round good guy. Next week, joining me will be the Black historian himself, Mr. Robin Walker. Publisher, educator, and author of When We Ruled, a history synthesis on the history of Africa and its people. But to play us out this week, my guest, Nereus Joesph, with guidance, because we all need a little bit of guidance.
Every day, just being the Father, He'll guide you one way. Guidance in every way. Teach my people not to go astray. I used to go run breast on the corner. Little split of sense of me. Now the corner just stay the same. No. I see them cry, kill life. It looks like they're taking over. Teens come to drive the youth insane.
So there's a bit of guidance. So make sure you tune in to me next week, where I'll be talking to Mr. Robin Walker, the Black History Man. Have a great week. See ya.
Good night.